Hello everyone. Welcome to SHR Trinity. In our previous video, we explored zero-shot prompting. Today, we advance to the next critical technique, chain-of-thought prompting. In this video, we will cover the foundational interview questions on chain-of-thought prompting, explaining how providing just a single example can drastically improve a model's accuracy and format adherence. Let's get started. Before we begin, if you're looking for practical, industry-oriented training in artificial intelligence and generative AI, SHR Trinity offers a comprehensive 30-hour training program. For complete course details, check the description below. Now let's begin today's interview session. We will now begin with the interview questions for chain-of-thought prompting, Part 2, Zero-Shot CoT and Step-by-Step Reasoning. Question 1. What is zero-shot chain-of-thought, zero-shot CoT, prompting and who introduced it?
Zero-shot chain of thought, zero-shot CoT, is a technique where adding the simple trigger phrase, "let's think step by step," to a prompt induces multi-step reasoning without providing any task-specific exemplars. It was introduced by Kojima et al. In 2022. Prior to zero-shot CoT, researchers believed CoT required handcrafted few-shot exemplars. Kojima et al. Discovered that LLMs possess intrinsic step-by-step reasoning capabilities that can be unlocked with a single universal prompt prefix. For example, prompt, a high school has 800 students. 55% are female. How many male students are there? Let's think step by step. A common mistake is assuming zero-shot CoT performs identically to few-shot CoT on domain-specific proprietary schemas where format exemplars are needed. As an interview tip, highlight that "let's think step by step" is one of the most famous zero-cost prompt engineering discoveries in AI history.
Question 2. Why does appending "let's think step by step" trigger reasoning without explicit examples?
Appending "let's think step by step" shifts the model's conditional probability distribution toward training data sequences that represent tutorial explanations, mathematical derivations, and logical walkthroughs. During pre-training on web corpora, phrases like step by step strongly correlate with educational textbooks, code walkthroughs, and Stack Overflow solutions. This token sequence conditions the model's attention heads to generate structured explanatory text. For example, the model shifts activation from concise trivia answers to textbook-style sequential problem solving. A common mistake is thinking the phrase alters parameter weights, rather than recognizing it as an inference time context conditioning mechanism. As an interview tip, explain it as a contextual steer that redirects model attention toward high-quality reasoning pre-training data.
Question 3. How does zero-shot CoT compare to few-shot CoT in terms of setup effort and accuracy?
Zero-shot CoT requires zero setup effort or exemplar curation, making it instant to implement. Few-shot CoT requires manual exemplar creation but delivers higher accuracy and strict control over output formatting. On general benchmarks like multi-arith, zero-shot CoT improves standard zero-shot accuracy from 17% to 78%. Few-shot CoT can reach 85% plus while ensuring consistent formatting across production runs. For example, using zero-shot CoT for ad hoc user query pipelines, using few-shot CoT for enterprise data extraction with rigid JSON outputs. A common mistake is spending days writing manual few-shot exemplars before testing if zero-shot CoT already satisfies project accuracy requirements. As an interview tip, advise starting with zero-shot CoT as a baseline, then upgrading to few-shot CoT if accuracy or formatting falls short.
Question 4. What alternative magic phrases, trigger phrases, work for zero-shot CoT besides "let's think step by step"?
Effective alternative trigger phrases include "let me break this down step by step," "take a deep breath and work through this logic," "let's analyze this systematically," and "first, let me outline the premises." Research benchmarking various trigger phrases showed that variants emphasizing systematic breakdown, "let me think step by step," "work through this logically," consistently outperform informal or generic prompts. For example, using "take a deep breath and work on this problem step by step" achieved top-tier performance in early GPT-4 evaluations. A common mistake is using overly verbose or vague trigger phrases that confuse the model's primary task objective. As an interview tip, mention that prompt optimization tools like DSP automatically benchmark and select the highest performing trigger phrase.
Question 5. How do you extract the final answer cleanly from a zero-shot CoT response trace?
Extracting the final answer from a zero-shot CoT trace is typically done using a two-step prompt extraction pipeline or by instructing the model to end its trace with a standardized anchor phrase like "therefore, the final answer is." Because zero-shot CoT generates verbose free-text reasoning, regex or simple string splitting can fail. A secondary extraction prompt, based on the reasoning above, "What is the final numeric answer?" guarantees clean programmatic extraction. For example, Pipeline Step 1, generate reasoning trace. Pipeline Step 2, feed trace into light model with prompt extract the final answer in JSON, answer. A common mistake is relying on fragile regex pattern matching on unconstrained free-text reasoning traces in production. As an interview tip, recommend two-step extraction or XML tags, reasoning/reasoning answer/answer, for robust production parsing.
Question 6. What are the limitations of zero-shot CoT when handling highly complex multi-domain logic?
Zero-shot CoT struggles when tasks involve domain-specific edge cases, custom business rules, or non-standard logical transformations that require explicit exemplar demonstration. While Let's Think Step by Step activates general reasoning patterns, it cannot inform the model about proprietary business logic or unique enterprise data structures that did not exist in its pre-training data. For example, calculating custom tax deductions based on multi-state corporate tax rules, zero-shot CoT guesses standard logic rather than your company's rules. A common mistake is assuming zero-shot CoT replaces domain context or system instruction guidelines in specialized enterprise applications. As an interview tip, state clearly, zero-shot CoT unlocks general reasoning, few-shot CoT and RAG provide domain-specific rules and facts.
Question 7. How does model size, parameter count, influence the effectiveness of zero-shot CoT prompting?
Zero-shot CoT is an emergent capability that primarily benefits large language models, typically 50B+ parameters. Smaller models often generate incoherent or rambling reasoning traces that fail to improve final accuracy. In small models, e.g. 1B 7B parameters, self-attention mechanisms lack the capacity to maintain logical consistency across long reasoning chains, leading to hallucination drift during the step-by-step generation. For example, a 7dB parameter model jumps from 40% to 80% accuracy with zero-shot CoT, while a 3B model drops from 20% to 15% due to rambling errors. A common mistake is forcing long zero-shot CoT traces on edge-deployed micromodels without specialized fine-tuning or distillation. As an interview tip, explain emergent properties. CoT capability exhibits a sharp phase transition at high model scale.
Question 8. How do you prevent zero-shot CoT from generating endless verbose reasoning loops?
To prevent verbose reasoning loops, configure strict system instructions defining step bounds, lower the generation temperature, and enforce explicit termination criteria or max token limits. Without constraints, open-ended reasoning prompts can cause the LLM to overanalyze trivial details, repeating similar logical steps and exhausting the token generation limit before providing an answer. For example, prompt instruction: limit your reasoning to 3 concise steps. Then provide the final answer immediately. A common mistake is leaving temperature at 1.0 with unconstrained zero-shot CoT, which amplifies repetitive token generation loops. As an interview tip, combine zero-shot CoT with explicit step constraints, e.g. in 3 steps or fewer, for production efficiency.
Question 9. Can zero-shot CoT be used in low-latency real-time API endpoints?
Zero-shot CoT is generally not recommended for real-time, low-latency API endpoints, e.g. live chat autocomplete, because generating intermediate reasoning tokens adds significant time to first token and total response latency. Every extra reasoning token requires sequential GPU forward passes. Generating 200 reasoning tokens adds 1 to 3 seconds of latency, which degrades real-time interactive user experiences. For example, user searching for product price in a chatbot expects less than 500 milliseconds response. Running 300 token CoT causes unacceptable delay. A common mistake is enabling zero-shot CoT on UI autocomplete or search suggestions where instant sub-second response times are required. As an interview tip, recommend asynchronous background processing for CoT workflows, reserving real-time endpoints for standard zero-shot calls.
Question 10. How do you benchmark and evaluate zero-shot CoT prompts in production test suites?
Zero-shot CoT prompts are evaluated using automated test suites that measure both final answer accuracy and reasoning trace quality across benchmark datasets using tools like RAGAs, PromptFu, or LLM as a judge. Evaluating CoT requires checking two dimensions: correctness, did it get the right final answer, and faithfulness, did the intermediate reasoning trace logically lead to that answer without hallucinations? For example, running a test suite of 500 edge case math queries, scoring final answer exact match and using GPT-4 to grade reasoning trace validity. A common mistake is evaluating only the final answer while ignoring flawed intermediate reasoning steps that could cause silent failures in production. As an interview tip, emphasize dual metric evaluation, evaluate both final answer precision and intermediate reasoning faithfulness.
Excellent. You've completed Chain of Thought Prompting, Part 2, Zero-Shot CoT and Step-by-Step Reasoning. In the next video, we'll dive deeper into using one-shot prompting to enforce strict JSON and XML outputs for API integrations. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe to CoT Trinity, and press the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming AI interview preparation videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.